Hi, how y'all doing this morning? I want to just say happy Thanksgiving to everybody in this room and everybody through the state of Nebraska and all the Cornhusker fans across the country. I want to say congratulations to all the high schools that made it to the state games. Had a nice crowd, it was a busy stadium today. Well, we got one mission left, one game. And I expect and I know our boys to come out and give full effort this last game. A lot of pride. Last game playing with some of their brothers. So I expect them to come out and play tough and be resilient through the whole game. Questions?
Is there anything about Iowa's offense, its run game, that's different from the last four games that you played that you see that'll be different, or is this basically a similar team to the last four that you played?
This is similar. I think this side of the conference is similar. I think that you're going to see big linemen. You're going to see they're going to run the ball and manage the clock and play good defense.
What jumps out to you about what makes that defense so effective over several years, really? They just strive it and all that.
Well, if you look at their defense, if you look at the starting 22, there's not one transfer in there. So they all been raised through the program. What I've been saying in these press conferences, you got to keep them in a program. That coach has kept them in a program. So those kids been in the system 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and they hadn't changed their system. So that's why it makes a good defense, because they don't make mistakes. They line up right, and they don't bust coverages. They don't miss gaps. They don't make mistakes.
Have you been able to, talking about keeping guys in the program, you're trying to prepare for games, but have you been able to try to recruit the roster somewhat through conversation, or how is that a difficult thing to do in season? Or
not right now, not till this picture clears up a little bit. You know, one thing I'm going to be able to control is getting this team ready to play for Iowa. Now after Iowa, then we got to, some decisions going to have to be made. But right now, I'm just going to control what I can control.
What is the plan for that? Like after the game, then what?
I'm going to be on my couch until I get a phone call. Okay? I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be on my couch. I mean, I'm going to coach them up until Friday. Then Saturday, I'm going to spend all day with the family. Then Sunday, I'll probably come in here and get some things done. But until I hear anything, everybody's going to kind of just take some time away.
What has the last 2.5 months just meant to you to have the opportunity to be the head coach?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe what have you learned about yourself? What's maybe been the most enjoyable thing, the hardest thing, those things?
Well, just the most enjoyable thing is the kids and the coaches, and just the joy of coming back to Lincoln, coming back to the University of Nebraska, and having this opportunity to lead this program. And I think the toughest thing is that we hadn't been able to get it done and finish the way I wanted with wins. That's been the toughest thing. But I wouldn't trade these memories for anything right now. I'm sure the kids feel the same way right now, because we really connected.
What are one or two or three things you learned through this process? Is there anything in particular?
I learned to stay off of Twitter. It's the first thing you learn. Okay. Second thing I learned, that you have to adapt to the conference, and your team's got to kind of look like the team that you play every week, and you have to surround yourself with people that understand or see it through your eyes and see it from the balcony and not the basement. You understand what I'm saying? It's not hard, but just learning things like that and learning the ups and downs of a head coach. Everybody say when your head coach is lonely. Well, I really don't get lonely, because everybody's tugging at you. So you really don't get lonely. You're lonely because you want to be lonely. And I'm not that type of person. And I was able to do it my way. I was able to keep it real. Not one time did I say, next question to you guys. Not that I'm being respectful to you guys. So, and that's the way I was raised, and that's where I've always been. So I really enjoyed this.
Why do you stay off Twitter?
Because some of these dudes on Twitter, they should worry about their own jobs. Not my job. not my job because they're not going to make any decisions. But it's funny, some of the things they say, and it was best that when I took over, everybody said, "Oh, stay off of Twitter." That's my brother Vance told me the first thing. Hey, shut social media down. Stay off it. And I don't think he ever had it, you know. So it was cool.
Mickey, talking about just doing things your own way, I mean, how do you think you set a foundation for this program going forward, if you do think?
Well, I think they're better now than when I found them. I think they're a better team. They're a more confident team. They hadn't gotten the wins, but I think they're better people right now. I think they can see the growth in themselves, and I can see the growth in them. And I think that they know that you can build something here. They know we're a couple of pieces away because we don't play some close games, and when we come back on Sunday, we identify what happened. So we know we're a couple of pieces away that we need to get up in here to help us get over that hump.
What was your level of concern with where the team was when you took it over on September 11th?
Well, just the overall attitude, and they want to. And so we attacked that, and attacked it that we're gonna do it together. And I think it was more of not them meeting me on my side of the table and not meeting on their side of the table, that we meet in the middle, because that's what men do. We meet in the middle, we agree to disagree. And I think they understood that. And I also think that I was easier to approach, that you were able to sit down with me and I was able to say, oh yeah, I was wrong with that. I shouldn't have did it that way. And I think they understand that, because like I say, you're dealing with the why generation. If you say, hey, knock down that wall, they're gonna ask why. And the only thing I ask you to do is what? Knock down that wall, you know? So knock on the wall, knock down it, but they're gonna ask why. So you gotta have an answer for them. They're different, you know, and they need to have your arm around them a lot, you know, and I think they understand that I do care about them.
Would you say that you work well with Bush? Why is that part working well? And why did you want him in that role?
Because we worked together at LSU, and I knew that we played good defense at LSU, and I know we didn't do a lot, but we were sound in the scheme wise what we were doing, and I know he would do the things that I wanted to do on defense, you know, with the tight front and playing some zone coverage and mixing it up and sending some blitzes and, you know, and quiet down, sending heat, you know. So I understood that. And the thing about me, Bush and I worked together for a couple of years, so we was able to share notes and compete against each other, and I know he was going to compete. And I know if I was wrong with something, that he was going to walk in my office and say, hey, I think we should do it this way. And if I say, no, we need to do it that way, then he would have jumped on board and did it. But he wouldn't let me just do, you know, something that didn't make sense. And that's why I appreciate Bill Bush.
Mickey, updating from last week, have you had any conversations with Trev about your future here?
No, I think that's you know, probably over the weekend or next week sometime.
You talked about kind of meeting in the middle with the players and being the Y generation. How much of that had to also occur between the coaching staff since you're coach?
Well, it's the same thing with them. You know, I let you coach your position. You know, I'm not a guy that, you know, going to come in your position room and just take over. So, you know, you let them coach their position, and you watch their position, then you evaluate them. But if you see something wrong, then you bring it to their attention. You don't beat them with the pen. So that's meeting in the middle.
Hey Mick, what does this rivalry mean to you, and how do you play with the boys that they have a real opportunity to go after and get a meaningful plan here today?
Yeah, they can be the spoiler. Yeah, we talked about that. And I think it's the next game, and I know it's a rival game, so I know they're going to be up for it. They're going to be up for it. They're going to come out and play in full force this game.
I know it hasn't gone how you've wanted up front, but what can you say, I guess, about Donovan Riley taking on kind of a tough assignment with some injuries that have popped up and stuff, and just as a younger coach in some respects working through this year?
I think Donnie's going to be okay. Donnie, you know, it's football. It's going to have injuries, and you got to coach through it. But I thought Donnie's did a great job with that offensive line this year of piecing it together, because he's missing a couple of pieces. But I think those guys up front, they came out every practice and every game, and they gave everything that they had, and that's all you can ask.
I feel like you guys have done just from a penalty standpoint, and what's your general approach in limiting flags?
Well, you have the refs in practice, and you talk to them about it. If you think you see it, throw it, and you try to get your kids to not have pre-snap penalties. That's what hurts you. The pre-snap penalties hurt us. I mean, if it's a holding call, pass interference, that's an aggressive call. But the pre-snap penalties hold you, jumping off sides, lining up off sides, things of that sort.
Hey, Mickey, what are your feelings about the 10 guys on staff you've coached with all this season, you know, and especially the way that they've
operated over the past 2.5 months with the uncertainty that's existed?
They've been great. You know, they've been giving everything they had when they come into the office. You know, I mean, I'm sure they got to, you know, take care of business and make phone calls, but they've been very professional throughout the time that I've taken over, and you really appreciate that from them.
How does Casey work?
Casey threw the ball better today. He was a little rusty last week, but today I thought he really threw the ball well today.
Have you had any conversations with Casey about his future at Nebraska, future in college football, or are you waiting till after?
No, we hadn't. The only thing Casey and I had talked about is him. He's going to graduate. He's going to get his master's in December, and I was congratulating him on that. But it's not going to be my decision about these kids' future. You know, they're going to make the decision with their family. Casey comes from a strong family, you know, family that understands the business, so they'll make the best decision. But Casey wants to stay here at University of Nebraska.
You were so instrumental in getting him here. Do you feel more connected with Casey than a lot of the other players you've had?
No, I feel connected with all of them. I just been knowing Casey a little longer, just like Trey. But I love all my players. I connect with all of them.
What would your message be to your players, you know, about after the game, how they approach that?
Well, I think the message to them is like, you know, let's sit back and wait and see until we hear anything, and once we hear something, then we'll act on it. But right now, everybody go get away and relax and clear your mind, and if you get a phone call, you know, show up.
Take one or two more. Hey, Mick, back to Iowa's defense, 31, Jack Campbell has been outstanding. What does he jump out on tape at you?
He does everything well. He plays the run well, plays the pass well. He gets them lined up. He's a really good football player,
Anything else, guys?
Hey, Mickey, Quentin just talked in the hallway about his growth as a leader over the course of the season. What have you seen from him in that area?
He was very quiet when I first arrived in December, but as the months went on, he's gotten better and more vocal as a leader. So I'm happy where Quentin's at right now.
Hey, Mick, I know you prioritized strengthening relationships around the state in your time as interim coach in recruiting, and you can't comment on the individuals, but as these championship games are going and last night, the level of play that we saw on the field, what do you think about the importance for Nebraska to continue to do that in the future and prioritize those kinds of kids?
I think when you look at the kid and you know he's a no-brainer, don't dance around it and pull the trigger on him and keep him here and make sure that you keep all the good players here in the state of Nebraska.
All good.
Thank you.